waqt Glam illum, Taylor Swift u l-Biennale ta' Venezja.
Welcome to the Eras Tour. This has been the most extraordinary experience of my entire life. He looks so pretty like a devil is new. She feels We're about to go on a little adventure together, and that adventure is going to span 17 years of music. How does that sound?
Qed titqies is-sorpriża tas-sena minkejja li għadna fir-raba' xahar tal-2024. Il-11 album tal-kantanta Taylor Swift huwa album doppju bil-kontra ta' dak li kienu qed jistennew ħafna. Jismu The Tortured Poets Department, f'essenzjela ta' kanzunetti autobiografiċi. Bil-kantanta tirrakkonta dak li għaddit minnu f'perjodi mill-aktar diffiċli f'ħajjitha. Taylor Swift ħadmet tajjeb f'nofs il-lejl tal-ġimgħa 19 ta' April ħarġet l-ewwel parti tal-album b'16 kanzunetta. U kulħadd ħaseb li dak kien kollox. Iżda, satejn wara, ħarġet it-tieni parti tal-album, 15 kanzunetta oħra. Il-fans ta' Taylor Swift kienu l-om sentejn jistennew mużika ġdida mill-kantanta favorita tagħhom u l-kju ta' Swifties il nġabru f'The Grove f'Los Angeles fejn saret attività apposta kien twil ġmielu.
So excited! I've been saying this is going to be my second favorite album ever, and it's releasing in like 2 days. And I haven't heard it, but I just know it. My first is Reputation, but the Tortured Poets Department is definitely going to be second. This supersedes school, for sure.
Il-medja laqet l-album il-ġdid ta' Taylor Swift b'idea miftuħa.
Oh, you want the tea on the Taylor Swift Heartbreak album, huh? I know. I mean, my first takeaway from this as compared to her previous work is that this is the longest with 31 songs, the longest Taylor Swift album we've ever had, but also the most vulnerable, the most complex. And I feel like actually fans were left with more questions than there were answers. So good luck trying to decipher which of these songs who these songs are about, what they mean, because as we know, Taylor never really reveals exactly the subject of each song and leaves it open to interpretation, but that doesn't mean Swifties aren't on the case, you know? But it definitely is so complex. Some of her, it really also, I think, showcases her writing, right? And we've always known she is a baddie on that pen, but this is, again, some of her most vulnerable work, and it really is, I mean, now I realize why it's called the Tortured Poets Department, because she says she spent 2 years writing poetry, and the girl sounds tortured. So clearly this is more of a heartbreak album than it is, you know, I feel like there's more heartbreak songs on this than there are love songs. I'll say that. I feel like I'm surprised by that too, and we shouldn't be. But yeah, I'm like, where does this all come from? And the fact that there's so many records now in her repertoire, while she's also re-recording, of course, her previous work too. It's amazing.
Taylor Swift is the closest thing we have to a monoculture right now. So it's kind of hard in these times to have a superstar that everyone is aware of and focused on and care about. She is the closest thing we have to someone that everyone knows about. You know, young girls are going to know her as much as your nan is going to know her. And she has so much just economic value. Her concerts are a nightmare to try and get tickets for. And she really bridges this gap between old and young. She has just fans that like the melodies, and then she'll have fans that love the lyrics. She kind of appeals to everyone. She's been around for so long now, and, you know, this tour she's on at the moment, the Eras Tour, is really a celebration of her growth as an artist and all the fans who've been there, you know, maybe since day one, maybe she's picked them up along the way with her various albums, and it's really sort of a celebration of where you were at that specific point and that being valid in a way. And I think because of that, she just sits so fondly in the hearts of her fans, and she's just been there at different points in their lives, and she still continues to be there, which I think is, you know, it's rare that a celebrity is at the peak of their fame 15 years into their career, but that's kind of where she's at. So she's kind of an anomaly.
I think it's a really beautiful record. I think it's Swift at the height of her songwriting prowess. I think it's also clearly a very intimate album where she goes into a lot of in-depth detail about what's been going on in her personal life. And for that, I think it's also a very cathartic album. I think it's a really beautiful record. I think it's Swift at the height of her songwriting prowess. I think it's also clearly a very intimate album where she goes into a lot of in-depth detail about what's been going on in her personal life. And for that, I think it's also a very cathartic album. On most of Taylor's albums, she's incorporated one sound or another, and there's like a very distinct sound that she's gone for. And that's why we're seeing her now on her Eras tour, because I think there's a very discernible kind of style that she's had in each record. And this feels more like an amalgamation of creatively the next step will be interesting, because I feel like doing such an amalgamation of all of those different sounds from previous records, I wonder then if we're going to get a bit of a curveball for the next one.
Fi kliem ieħor, album ġdid għal Taylor Swift illi diġà jidher li se jkun suċċess, imma l-attenzjoni diġà fuq ix-xogħol li jmiss tagħha. Dik wara kollox hija l-ħajja tal-artist. Min xogħol għal ieħor.
Welcome to the acoustic set.
Mill-kultura pop għal kultura ftit aktar elevata, lenti fuq xi xogħlijiet waqt il-Biennale ta' Venezja, is-60 edizzjoni ta' dan il-Biennale. Fil-Padiljun tal-Belġju qed tittella wirja ddiżinjata minn membri tal-kollettiv Petticoat Government. Is-seba' artisti tal-kollettiv immaġinaw xenarju multidixxiplinarju bbażat fuq ġganti folkloristiċi ispirat minn komunitajiet differenti fil-Belġju, Franza u Spanja. Il-ġganti, mola 5 metri kull wieħed, edu fuq pjattaforma trasparenti. L-artisti jridu jilagħbu bid-dimensjonijiet u juru id-dinamiċità ta' dawn il-karattri għax qed jisfnu. Il-viżitaturi jipparteċipaw fil-moviment billi jimxu taħt il-pjattaforma. Dawn il-ġganti f'din il-wirja diġà għamlu żewġ waqfiet qabel waslu hawnhekk. Il-proġett beda fid-9 ta' Diċembru tal-2023 f'Louvain, bis-sem tagħhom fl-ewwel avveniment artistiku. Il-vjaġġ kompla fuq ix-xatt tal-Grex, imbagħad f'Padova fl-Italja stess. Il-wirja f'Venezja se tul sal-24 ta' Novembru li ġej biex imbagħad il-ġganti se jkunu eżibiti fil-BPS 22 f'Charleroi fir-rebbija tal-2025, imbagħad f'Dunkirk fil-ħarifa tal-2025. Sa dan it-tant fuq ix-xaqliba l-oħra tal-Biennale ta' Venezja l-ewwel darba artist barrani qed jirrappreżenta lil Spanja. Jisimha Sandra Gamarra Hexiki ta' oriġini Peruvjana. B'din il-lenti tagħha qed tagħti ħarsa sinkretika lejn il-kolonjaliżmu Spanjol. Imwilda f'Lima fl-1972, Gamarra Hexiki tgħix u taħdem bejn Madrid u l-kapitali Peruvjana. Hija tuża l-pittura b'mod figurattiv biex tinterroga l-arti u l-mekkaniżmi tagħha ta' rappreżentazzjoni, eżibizzjoni u kummerċjalizzazzjoni. Ibbażat fuq l-appropjazzjoni, x-xogħol tagħha jaħdem bħala mera li tbiddel il-formati tal-wirjiet, tbiddel iċ-ċirkwit tal-immaġini u toffri alternattiva għal min huwa verament sit il-kultura. Il-mistoqsija ta' dejjem tal-kolonjaliżmu. Fl-istess ħin, ix-xogħol tagħha jaqleb ta' taħt fuq ir-relazzjoni bejn l-oġġett tal-arti u dak li qed iħares lejn l-arti. F'dan l-aspett tar-riċerka tagħha, il-wirt Peruvjan jiġġenera ħarsa sinkretika li fiha jaħbtu l-kulturi prekolombjani, kolonjali Spanjoli u dawk tal-Punent.